It's coming home. It's coming home. It's coming. Hello and welcome to a very, very special episode of Right from the Kickoff. I'm your host for today, William Bayliss, and as always, I'm going to be joined by the very excitable and one and only Joseph Wright. How you doing, Joe?
I'm good, mate. I just can't. You know what? I'm still buzzing, honestly. I mean, can you believe it? I mean, we're just both almost in shock, really. That that we that we're where we are. I mean, first final in for England in 55 years. I mean, it's incredible, really, and we've never experienced anything like this on an international level. So,
We
I mean,
haven't.
how are you feeling about it, Will? I mean, it's just.
I'm nervous, excited, apprehensive, all of the above. But before we get into it, guys, make sure you give this video a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and now Twitter, and all of the links of which are in the description down below. So there's only one place we can start, isn't it, Joe? And that is Italy, Spain. I'm just kidding. We're going to be starting with England, Denmark, aren't we, Joe?
Because, of course,
as we all know by now, England are in the final, the first major final since 1966. Now, Joe, talk me through how you're feeling right now.
Feeling good. I mean, it was a really weird one, actually, because as we know, so I'll just talk you through the match a little bit. So it started a bit tentative from both teams. England actually had a few opening opportunities. You know, I'm talking about the Harry Kane cross for Sterling. He couldn't quite reach it, and then of course, Damsgaard scored a free kick for worldly of a free kick, I might add. For Denmark, put us 1-0 down. But I don't know about you, Will. At that point, I still wasn't nervous. You know,
Were you not?
I honestly thought at that point that we were going to be okay. There was something in my brain. Honestly, it's easy to say that now, but I can honestly tell you the truth that I did think that we were still going to pull through. And then, of course, 10 minutes later, Harry Kane plays a lovely little ball through for Saka.
What a ball that was, though.
Yeah.
To be fair. Cut through the line of the defence.
Saka crosses the ball, obviously intending it for Sterling, and then obviously Seaman Kerr, he puts it into his own net, to make it 1-1. And then, of course, it was very sort of bit of a tentative second half again. Denmark playing some lovely little build-up play. You know, I'm talking about the build-up play between Brathwaite and, you know, there was other players getting involved in that. Obviously, Damsgaard as well, trying to operate in the middle. And then, of course, they made a lot of subs, and I really do feel like that changed the game. They made all 5 substitutions around about 70 minutes, and I really believe that was to try and push them to win the game. Obviously, they didn't make all 5 at once, but I think it was just over 70 minutes when all 5 had been made. And it just gave the impetus to England. We really pushed on. Obviously, we brought on Jack Grealish. And to be honest, I think we all thought at one stage we were going to win it in the 90 minutes because the last.
We had some good chances.
Yeah, the last sort of 20 minutes of the 90, it was all England. And I was watching it with a couple of friends of ours, Luke and Nathan, just to give them a shout out. I was watching it with a couple of friends over the phone. And I said to them, because obviously I'm probably a bigger football fan than they are. I said to them, I'm not particularly worried. I think we can go on and win this. You know, I think we'll win it in extra time. And of course we did. Of course, then Harry Kane gets the penalty. Do you think it was a penalty, first of all? Raheem Sterling getting into the box on the right-hand side, as we could see it.
Now, this is an interesting one because it is very, very soft. If it was given against us, we would kick off all sorts. There was minimal contact, but I've seen worse decisions being made. But I was talking to Christian, one of my Danish friends, shout out to him, and there's a lot of unhappy Danish people, as you can imagine, because you would feel the same.
Of course.
But the penalty got given. We've had more than enough half decisions over the years, haven't we?
the issue I've got with the penalty being given, and I can say this with confidence, I really do think, I do think it was a very controversial decision. I personally don't think it was a penalty, and I think it should have been overturned. That's my personal opinion. And of course, Cassius Michael saves the penalty, and Kane follows up to put it in, which, to add a light, obviously ended up being the winning goal. But I will say this, and this is just from an England fan's point of view, and it is an English, sort of with my English hat on. I do feel like we would have gone on to win it anyway.
I agree. We had the ascendancy.
Yeah, we had the ascendancy. I don't think it was going to stop. You know, you could tell that towards the end of the game that Denmark's legs had gone. I think they'd given a lot during the tournament, obviously with the emotion of the players and everything. They'd given a lot, and you know what? Fair play to Denmark. And I was actually really happy to play them in the semi. They'd done really well. You know, and if we'd have got knocked out against them, I wouldn't have minded as much.
Yeah, and we have to remember they played the last 10 minutes of extra time with 10 men because they made all the subs and one of the players went off injured, didn't they?
So, yeah, they did. So I think it was, you know, I just feel like even if that penalty hadn't have been given, I think England would have gone on to win it. But that's just my personal view, just with the way the game is going. Yes, Denmark had the ball more in the second half, but you got to think about the psychology of the game. They're chasing the game. Then England kind of dropped back. We took off Jack Grealish. You know, he was a sub on and subbed off, but I think it was obviously in the end the right tactical decision.
Yeah, because I think for me he doesn't track back as much as other left-sided midfielders do.
Well,
to be fair, and that's my key reasoning behind it. And you can't argue with bringing Henderson on in place of him because it just shores up the defence and the midfield, and he has that experience on. He's the captain of Liverpool for a reason. He's won the Champions League. He knows what he's doing in that position, doesn't he?
Yeah, I actually think it was actually Kieran Trippier that got brought on for Jack Grealish because Henderson was already on. But that's by the by. What I was going to say is, I think Southgate's got it tactically right, and we know that he doesn't trust Jack Grealish in tracking back kind of thing, and that's what we needed at that point once we got the lead. You know, I mean, but then to win it, and the way we kind of compose ourselves in the last couple of minutes towards the end, I mean, it's nothing that we've seen like from England, is it?
Yeah, there was no nerves. There was something like 58 passes in the last 5 minutes, and they had the ball constantly. One thing I would like to say is that in the first half of normal time, Denmark won every second ball. They won every header in the midfield. Phillips and Rice didn't have the best first half, and in the second half they recomposed, and then they really owned that midfield a bit more, because I think Denmark, particularly in their first half, were bossing that midfield.
I mean,
and it's the opposite to the Ukraine game, where we won every single ball in midfield. We were unbelievable. We won every single header. With Denmark, they held up the ball, and they're a very big side, so they always had that advantage as well.
Yeah.
And for me, I think that's where it was won for us, because we managed to battle that back in the second half, didn't we?
Shout out to Harry Maguire, though. You say that they've got some big guys, and they did, but you know, he won a lot of headers from the corners coming into our box, and obviously crosses as well. He had a tremendous game. I mean, you could list probably 10 or 11 players, maybe even 12 for the players that came on, of kind of players who did battle through. It was a different type of win, but you got to say it shows some real grit and character to get the win. I just feel like this team's done us proud, whatever happens on Sunday now. I mean, how are you feeling about it, Will? And obviously we're going to go on to Italy and Spain in a minute, but obviously Italy won that game. How are you feeling about it, and obviously England's chances?
Well, I think we've got every chance, to be fair. I think looking ahead to the game, there's some very interesting stats going into it, is that Italy have had 108 shots in the whole competition, which is a lot of shots from 6 or 7 games. 7 games, I think it is, isn't it? It's a crazy amount of shots. So they like to have a lot of shots regardless of the distance or the area of the pitch we're in, and that's mirrored in how many goals they've only scored 12 goals, which is about 10% about their shots, whereas England it's more around the 18-20% mark with scoring 10 goals from 58. So it's a very interesting matchup, and I think it's going to be won and lost in the defence. They both have very resolute defences, don't they? With England only conceding 1 goal from a set piece, I like to add, and Italy only conceding 3 goals, which in a major tournament like this is crazy, particularly how it's a last of 16 match as well. So it's going to be very, very interesting indeed, isn't it?
It's the two best defences in the competition without a doubt. And I don't, honestly, I can't believe I'm saying this, but probably 2 of the best keepers in the competition so far. I did feel like actually it was probably one of Pickford's more shakier games against Denmark, because there was some people arguing that he could have saved the free kick. I personally don't think. I think it was very difficult for him.
How hard they hit the ball! The reaction time was like 0.7 seconds. It's like there's not much you can do about it.
The pace, because what people don't realise as well is the pace of the ball when it dips at the end as well. It's not like the ball is in reach. It's dipped down just below the bar, so it's still a very good shot. Yes, it is middling of the goal, but I think it would have been very difficult to save. Anyway, moving on, I feel like you are right. I think it's going to be 1 loss in the defence, but I also feel like the attacking element, that's going to be a massive key point as well. If Sterling has a sort of similar game as he has done against Ukraine, as he has done against Denmark, I personally think he was our man of the match on Wednesday night. He was phenomenal. Never seen him run so much, making direct runs, making the right decisions, running past players. He's just such a threat this tournament. I mean, I'll happily say this, and you were sat with me on our first game. I didn't think much of him coming into the tournament, but he's just grown and grown into the tournament, and it's one of our exciting players to watch. He's been phenomenal this tournament, hasn't he, Raheem Sterling?
Yeah, he really has. And I just want to give a shout out to Kyle Walker as well, because he was unbelievable in the game against Denmark. He got out with so much danger with his raw pace. He was just unbelievable. And his composure, he was one of the man of the matches for me personally.
Yeah. There was so many. I mean, you could name sort of 7 or 8 man of the matches for me, especially in the kind of defensive unit, going forward. I thought Saka, for the part he played, 65 minutes, 70 minutes that he played, he was phenomenal, for such a young kid as well. I've not been the biggest fan of Saka, as you know, with the Arsenal youngsters comments we've made in previous podcasts, but he's been phenomenal this tournament. I feel like these players really are, they've not got the monkey on the back other players have had. They're not tight. They're going for it, and I think that's just something that's really exciting for the future.
Yeah, and bearing in mind, Saka's only 19 years old as well.
Yeah.
He's got a big future ahead of him now.
Of course he is, and he's a very, very versatile player, as we've discussed in previous podcasts.
Yeah. So let's talk about our opposition. They drew 1-1 with Spain and ended up winning 4-2 in penalties, which I think that was the 3rd match in a row that Spain have gone to extra time. And it's kind of been the story of Spain's tournament, to be fair. They had 65% of the possession. They had more chances, more attacks, more corners, more everything pretty much. But they didn't win the game. And I think that you also have to give credit to Italy as well, because they didn't let Spain have that many opportunities. I mean, clear-cut opportunities. It was a great match overall, though, wasn't it? It was one of the best 1-1 matches I've ever seen.
It was great to watch. I mean, I just want to say, I've got to be completely honest with you. Just talking about Morata, I just want to touch on him for a second before we go on about Italy. I did feel for him because obviously he came on, scored the goal for them, and you thought, he's proven a few people wrong tonight, and of course he misses the kind of the losing penalty. Obviously missing the penalty. So I did kind of feel for him a bit. It was a very poor penalty. I'm sure he'll bounce back from it, but he gets a lot of hate from social media and a lot of fans over the world. So, especially from us in England, with him being ex-Chelsea and whatnot. So felt for him a bit, but I thought Italy's game management, you can call it what you want. You can call it kind of the dark arts. You can call it a bit rough and ready and stuff. But I thought in extra time, they knew that Spain were going to try and pass them to death, and they were actually the better team coming into into the extra time. I thought Spain just didn't have that cutting edge to maybe win it, get that goal, but they were the better team extra time. So you could kind of feel like Italy were working for penalties. They got the penalties and obviously won them. I think Italy will be the favourites for me going in to this final. But I think it really does make a difference when that crowd's behind you, and you can see that. Which England have the home advantage. I feel with Italy, they're almost reinvigorated. We know they're using a lot of players from a lot of different clubs. Mancini's not picking players based upon name. He's really got the love and attention of the Italian team back into the nation. They're actually a lot like us in the fact that the national team has been kind of reinvigorated a bit. Before coming into 2018 World Cup for us, we were very much similar. Obviously we were qualifying for tournaments, but we'd had a very, very poor showing in the last couple of tournaments. Obviously losing to Italy in 2012, losing to, not qualifying from the group stage in 2014. That was the group between Italy and Uruguay. Costa Rica actually ended up getting out of that group, and Italy and England didn't. But yeah, so that was 2014. 2016, obviously, we lose to Iceland. So the parallels between the two sides in terms of what they've gone through is actually quite similar. In terms of there's been a real sort of downturn in kind of the nation's sort of belief in the team, and then just recently, in recent years, kind of the peak of interest has kind of picked back up again. What do you make of that point, Will? And I feel like that's kind of the case, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. I think it's going to be a real matchup. Italy, for me, are mentally really, really strong. You saw that during the penalties with Chiellini or Bonucci, I think it was. Went up to the coin toss. He was joking around. He got into the head.
That's Chiellini, yeah.
Chiellini. Got into the head of Alaba and the whole Spanish team, and I think that's where the penalty shootout was won for Italy personally, because they were so calm and so just jovial, like it was just practice almost, like training. I think that's probably the best way to go, to be fair, because you saw it time and time again. For example, any player like Harry Kane would score 5 out of 5 penalties in training because there's no pressure. As soon as they put the pressure on, this, playing basketball when you're at university and things, the pressure does get you, and you're more likely to miss because you overthink things, don't you?
It does. I mean, just talking about myself a bit on the basketball court. I mean, obviously, I know I'm a novice and amateur kind of way, but I probably on the team of our university basketball team, I was probably one of the more comfortable shooters in training. I could hit shots from quite far out, could hit shots, layups and stuff. But when it came to in match, I couldn't hit a shot full of no money because it's the pressure. When you've got a defender on you and when you've got a team around you and when you need to make the shot, the pressure gets to you, and it's the same with anything, isn't it? It's and you can see that. Harry Kane obviously missing his penalty with the follow. Luckily, it came back to him, but he still missed the penalty. But I think the whole country thought, yeah, he's definitely going to score. But I think it's the fact that it's that pressure in that moment, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. I think they had that weight of expectation, didn't he? The whole stadium went silent just before he was about to take it and erupted when he scored the rebound, and it's just wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. But I just want to ask you this question now. Then, Will, we're gonna go into this. What do you think? Who's gonna win it and why? And try your best to take your England hat off, because obviously I know we want to win it and we want to back our team. But if you're just looking at it from a neutral nation's point of view, who do you think is gonna win it and why?
Oh, it's so tough because on a neutral point of view, it could honestly go either way. I know you probably think the same, and I know you said Italy was favourites, but it could honestly go either way. It depends what Italy side turn up, because it's all going to come down to, is the occasion going to get the better of them. Italy have far more experience in major competition finals. Both though. So we could easily go either way. I think that's where it's going to be won and lost. But
yeah, and I think if we do go down a goal early in the final, I think the atmosphere could quickly change for us as well. Because a final's different. I mean, obviously we've not been there, but you just get the pressure, the psychology of a final is different to any element of the tournament. We've done very well to get this far. There's a lot of players. You're forgetting though that we've got a lot of players that are featured in the Champions League final. So they're accustomed with the type of pressure they'll be facing. But I think international pressure, especially of this kind going into this game, I don't think any player from any previous England squad will have felt the pressure that they'll be feeling. But hopefully they can kind of see it as we're going to go out there to win it. We are slight underdogs, and I mean I'm talking very slight. I don't think this is kind of we'd be lucky to have this. I think if people saw that England won it, they'd be like, well, both good teams, England have a good chance. You know what I mean? It's not. It's probably 51-49 kind of deal. Do you know what I mean? It's that close. So I personally think that Italy are going to win. And this is me coming at it from a neutral perspective. Obviously, I want England to win it. I want it badly. I'll be happy to be wrong. I'll be so bloody happy to be wrong. I want to be wrong. But I think Italy have just got that championship experience. They've been to European finals. They've been to World Cup finals. Some of the players they know that. They know that as a nation as well. I think they're more expectant than we are as well with this final. I think they expect to win it. I think they're fearful though. I think the Italians are fearful of England.
I think both sides are fearful of each other, but I think both sides have a team camaraderie, don't they? And they back each other. So I think that's one thing I just want to touch on, the team camaraderie and atmosphere, because it's been unbelievable for England. Like, I can't speak for Italy as much, but from what I've seen in England, it's been unbelievable. And it's Gareth Southgate, huge props to him. It's completely changed the ethos of the whole team, hasn't it? And whatever happens, he deserves. Loads of people would turn their nose up to Gareth Southgate saying, "Oh, he's overrated." Not one person can say that after this tournament, can they now?
Yeah, I don't know. I know a couple of we've got our friend of the show, Nick Ronnie, he's basically saying that Southgate, we need to play better than this. That he's very negative towards Southgate, and I've been the same, to be fair. So there are still people out there who are Southgate haters, and if we lose, they'll be like, Southgate needs to go. I know that sounds crazy, but there are a few fans out there.
I think that's completely unjustified and
I know. So
irrelevant.
So do I. I do think it is now, but I think there are still fans out there, and I was just using them as an example. Sorry, Nicky, but yeah, that's kind of. So there are a few fans out there. I think he's been phenomenal. I think he deserves the praise that he gets. And I just want to say, from my point of view, he's done a lot to change my opinion on him. I think as fans, especially here in England, we all believe that we can be a manager. That's the problem. We all believe that we know the best team, we know the best system, including myself. I'm an absolute devil for it, on I will. We all believe that we know the best way to set up the team. But at the end of the day, he's the one making the decisions. He's the one making the calls. And I said to you before the tournament, if we don't play interesting football, but we win every game 1-0 and we win the tournament, I don't think anyone's going to complain. So you can have a go at the style of football or whatever, but I actually think since the kind of Ukraine game, actually, I felt like our style of football against Denmark was very pleasing to watch. It was much more attacking, especially when it was 1-1 and he knew that we could go and win it. So
I think the resurgence of Harry Kane in the competition is key for us as well, because he played well against Denmark.
Yeah. I think we need him to score. You know, he's now got 4 goals. He didn't score any in the group stage. We needed him to score to win this competition. And now he's been scoring. He scored 4 goals. He could potentially get the Golden Boot on Sunday. I'm hoping he does. And he's the outright Golden Boot winner as well, because it means that he needs 2 goals to win that, which would be nice. But I think, you know, there are key players that have really come to the forefront. I have to say, for me, from an England perspective, the two midfielders for me that have impressed me the most is Rice and Phillips. Just, I mean, I know they didn't have the best half against Denmark, but they are just Phillips, first international tournament. You know, no pressure. He just looks like he's a kid at the park enjoying doing what he does. He loves breaking up play and being aggressive. You know what I mean? And to get a player that enjoys doing the dirty work, that's when you know you've got a winner.
Yeah, exactly. And it's been a revelation, honestly, as have most of our England squad, to be fair. Right, Joe, it's come to crunch time. The scoreline, what are you going for?
I said, obviously, I think Italy are going to win it. And I would like to remind you, before you make your prediction, that you did predict an England-Italy final, but I think you predicted Italy to win it on penalties. I just want to say that. You did say that.
I did, but I want to be hopeful for this one.
Yeah, of course. I know I said Italy to win. That's the pundit in me, but I'm gonna do this with a heart kind of thing. I can't knock back my team when I'm coming up for the predictions, so I'm gonna go 2-1 England and to win it in extra time like we did against Denmark.
Oh, that'll be massive, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I also agree. I think it's going to be 2-1. I think both teams will score for sure. So we'll just go and see what happens, won't we, Joe?
Yeah. Nervous, excited, you know, but whatever happens, even if we get thrashed, right, whatever happens, we've never experienced, just talking to the England fans now, you know, we've never experienced this. Italy are a very, very good side, and we need to be wary of that. Do you know what I mean? So it's no shame losing to them, but we've done very well to get to this point. But, you know, we really want it now, don't we? You can feel it. Everybody does want it. Everybody's kind of looking on Sunday nervously, but with excitement as well, with the possibility of bringing it back. It'd be amazing if we could, just to see that. You asked me a question off air or off the podcast. Well, a couple of days ago, I don't know whether you remember, but you said, how do you think it would feel, you know, if England win it or Leicester win in the Premier League? I think now I'm gearing up towards it. I think, I'm not saying this would mean more. I think it would definitely be on the same level of.
Oh, really?
Of kind of just because I think it was getting to us that we'd never see them in a final again. You know.
Yeah.
In our lifetimes. So you imagine if we bring it back, the euphoria it's going to bring to the country, and I think
the whole country.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The key point to that is that everybody's going to be buzzing. Do you know what I mean? Everybody from pillar to post. And I know a lot of people who don't even watch football that are kind of interested in this. I mean, my stepdad, for example, he's not exactly a football fan, and he's been watching this with quite keen eyes. You know, so it's just bringing those people together. So let's bring it home. It's coming home, Will.
It's coming home. Right then, Joe. The next time we're going to speak on the podcast, it's going to be after the final. Whatever happens, we'll be running a podcast, won't we? Sometime.
Let's hope it's not commiseration. I know me and you are obviously watching the game together, so we'll be watching a lot of the game through our fingers together. You know, it's going to be exciting in it, and I can't wait for the atmosphere as well in the pub. So let's go and bring it home.
It's coming home. Right. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And as always, it's coming home. See you later, Joe.
See you later.